Hey friends, Shawn here with Manly Made Minute, and welcome back to another Monday moment where I share tips, tricks, and helpful hints. Today I am getting us stretching our supplies just a little bit. I need you to go to your kitchen, grab some of your cookie cutters, come on back to the craft room, and I'm going to show you what we can do with them. Okay, welcome back. Hopefully you took that little pause, ran to your kitchen, grabbed some cookie cutters, and I'm going to show you what we can do with our cookie cutters to make some really cool cards. So let's just not waste any time. Let's head on down to my table and take a look at what we're going to do. So here's my cookie cutters. I have taken out of here one of my leaves, cookie cutters, and that's what we're going to use. But if you look at what I have, I've got leaves, stars, I've got an acorn, Christmas trees, gingerbread, candy cane, butterfly, which would be awesome for this. Any of these would work. These would work. The metal ones will work. I've got little flowers, all kinds of little goodies in here. I'm going to go with my leaf, because I'm going to just do kind of a fall theme on this. And here's what I've discovered with these. On my metal ones, this is the edge that I cut with, right? So if I get this up close to the camera, and hopefully that'll focus for me. Actually, I'll just zoom in. Let me just zoom in. Alright, so if you look at this, I've got kind of a thicker edge on this side where the metal was curved over and folded. This is the cutting edge, right? So this edge is a little thinner. For this technique, I use this back side, which is technically the top side, the non-cutting side of the cookie cutter, because it's a little thicker. Either will work. It just takes a little extra to keep the color on the edge of the cookie cutter. Alright, so we're going to use this edge. Let me just zoom back out here a little bit so you can kind of see what we're doing. Alright, come in just a little. Alright, so here's what you're going to do. You can do watercolor, you can stamp on this. Stamping, I found I don't get as much color on there, so it takes a little extra effort to get it to stick. So I'm using Tim Holtz watercolored pencils. I've used these in other videos. I have taken the watercolored pencil shavings and I've put them into this Ranger palette. Alright? Melted them down with water, let them dry. So now I've got a watercolor palette. But you could use the colored pencil itself and go wet to pencil. So I could take and wet my brush and then wet down here to get a little bit more onto the brush this way and paint it on that way too. But same kind of concept, I'm going to do it with my palette. Alright, here's what you're going to do. And I've done this a couple times to get this to work, and here's what I have found that works best. Alright, so with this, I'm going to use orange and yellow and a kind of a dark red. And what you're going to do is I'm going to wet this down. I'm going to move this so I don't splatter on it. And I'm just dabbing this on the edge of my cookie cutter. Okay? Trying to get nice and thick color on here. If it drips down inside like this, don't worry about it. It actually is going to work to your advantage, and you're going to see why here in a second. Okay? If it drips in, I would actually prefer it drip in there just a little bit, because it just works better. Alright, and if I'm going to get drips, I want to keep the drips on the inside if I can, and you'll see here in a second. So now I'm going to do my yellow. Okay, and I'm just getting as thick as I can, and I'm actually going to roll out just a little bit so it drips on the inside for me because I need some of that color. Okay, now I'm going to take my deep red and do the same thing on the rest of this cookie cutter. Okay, dab it in. Roll it so I get some drippies on the inside is what I really would prefer. So I'm going to roll that in. Drip, drip, drip. Drippies. Okay, I'm just going to get a little bit more on this top edge now. Alright, I'm going to pick that up so I don't get too much. Alright, now what you're going to do is take your water bottle, and I'm going to hold this away and lightly mist this. Okay, I don't want this too wet because it'll run off. Just hold it away, and I'm going to go up to my up camera so you can kind of see this. Alright, so I'm going to hold this away. I'm going to mist. Pull that into the mist. Just to mist it on there just to keep it damp. Okay, that's it. Now we're going to go back down. I'm going to flip this over and hold that down. Okay, don't lift up yet, because now what you're going to do, those drippies inside, remember I said they'd work to our advantage? Now you're going to take and spray the inside of this. I want this wet. I want this to start bleeding. Okay, press this down so you get that color off, and now lift straight up and check that out. Is that not cool or what? Now what I'm going to do, because now I've got this wet inside here, it's pooling off. I don't care, because I want this watercolor effect anyway. If I did not want this to pool off, then don't wet it as much, because then you can wet it with your brush. Now I'm going to take these same colors and I'm going to dab this inside here where I've got all this wet. Okay, and I'm just dabbing. I'm not painting pretty here. Okay? Dab, dab, dab. Grab some of that red. Dab, dab, dab. Pull that in where you want to pull that in, right? Okay? Mixy, mixy. That's it. Now I need to dry this. And because I have some wash off here, I'm going to pull some of this wash off here. Okay, just because I want a little bit of extra. Okay, now I'm just going to keep that as is, flatten this out, and I'm going to dry this with my heat tool. Then what we're going to do is I want to show that shape of this leaf a little more. So I'm going to trace around this leaf. I'm just going to grab a little paper towel so I can speed this up a little bit and soak up some of that. Dry this good, because now you're going to use a marker or a gel pen. So next trick here, pardon me, you can use a marker. I'm using a fine tip Sharpie marker. You can use a Sharpie, you can use a colored pencil, you can use a gold gel pen. Would look awesome to do this next little trick. Whatever you want. You could trace it with a black marker, whatever you got. Alright, I'm going to dry my surface here a little bit. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to wash or wipe this off, because I don't need any more wet and marker and color on here. I'm just going to dry it. Okay, now I'm going to place this back down where I had it. And if it's not lined up perfect, don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. Alright, now I'm going to trace this. Okay, and I got a little, it's still a little wet in spots here, so let me just dab that up. Alright, now I'm just going to trace. Okay. And my head's going to be in the way for a second probably here. And I'm going to retrace this a couple times, because I just want kind of a rough trace. I don't need this for what I want to do. It doesn't need to be perfect. Alright, you can kind of see now I have a rough trace. Now I'm just going to go through and get my last minute dabs up here. Now I'm just going to randomly kind of I just don't want this perfect. I just want a nice trace around this. Just like so. That's it. Now, I can't resist, because it's fall and I think it looks great all the time with anything fall. I'm going to take my watercolors. This is a brand new set, so I'm just using the gold out of it. And whatever you have, I'm going to use watercolor, gold. If you've got, you know, gold ink, you've got whatever you want to do. If you want to splatter this in different colors, whatever you think. Okay, now just jazz it up. So now I'm just going to get my gold splatter in here. Just like so. And then I like to do a little veining. So now I'm just going to take right where those colors kind of meet, and I'm just going to add some, I'm not putting any pressure here, I'm just going to do some veining on this. Like so. That's it. Now you got yourself a great little watercolor card front. You could do green, and you could do a Christmas tree. You could do whatever you want. I am actually not done with this. I just wanted to show you quick techniques. Now I'm going to go through and distress with some brown, and I'm going to do the edges with some ink and stuff, and do some ink blending on this just to kind of give it a shadow around the edge. So I'm not done, but I just wanted to show you technique on this one. That's it, my folks. Quick little cookie cutter little watercolor for you. I could have traced this around with a pencil, and then traced it with my watercolor pencils and did the same thing, and then wet it from on paper. You could just do some ink blending, whatever you want, but just remember, I've got a whole basket of extra tools here. Another idea that works is your die cuts. If you've got great die cuts with leaves and different things, you could do the same thing with die cuts, or you could just trace them and then watercolor on the inside. Because remember, wherever you put water, that ink is going to trail too when you watercolor. So if you just fill the edges inside of that die cut after you trace it with water, that's where that watercolor is going to stay. So hope this was a little helpful hint for you. Hopefully this gives you another idea to stretch your tools and use what you have. I'm going to ink blend my edges and make a nice little autumn card to probably a little thank you card to send on this one. So thank you so much. If you are new here, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. I would love to have you as a subscriber to my channel. Hit that thumbs up. Definitely helps my algorithm. And you can also find me on Instagram under Manly Made Minute and follow me there. Love to have you guys follow me. Love everybody's suggestions and comments. I try to comment to everybody. I appreciate all the input, and I appreciate all the encouragement. So my Monday Moment comes out every Monday at 3 p.m. My Scrappy Shorts every other Saturday at 3 p.m. And then I throw some videos in between there. So love to have you. And until next time, I'll see you then.